If you're an avid book lover, you would relate to this. The good old feel of visiting a bookstore, getting hands on your favorite titles, and the author's autograph too, if you're lucky. Of course, we're also in the age of ebooks or reading PDFs online, but nothing quite matches a hard copy. So why are we talking about books today? That's because a book has quietly made its way to stores in India. Not a new book really, but a highly controversial one. A book that had triggered a global outrage, protests, and even a ban in India. The story of which goes back more than 35 years in a pre-liberalized India. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chohan. Let's get started. Controversial book, The Satanic Verses, is now available in limited stock in India. The book is written by British Indian author Salman Rushdie. Earlier this week, Bharison's bookseller in the national capital announced the arrival of the book. The book is priced at about 2,000 rupees. Reports suggest the book will be available in some other bookstores in the country. Some booksellers, meanwhile, don't plan to have this book in stock. They say it's too risky and that they wish to stay clear of any controversy. Now, this comes more than a month after the Delhi High Court lifted an import ban on this book. A petition had challenged the book's ban by the Rajiv Gandhi government back in 1988. We'll come to that story in a bit. But why was the import ban eventually lifted? Apparently, the document which notified the ban was nowhere to be found. Yes, the Indian government was unable to locate a 1988 notification which had put the ban in place. The Delhi High Court declared that in the absence of the required documentation, there was no legal basis to uphold the prohibition. Effectively, the ban was nullified, allowing the novel to be freely imported and sold. The court order marked the end of a 36-year-old ban on the book by the Indian government. Now, this story dates back to the year 1988. That was the year when Satanic Verses was published. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. A few Indian leaders got hold of the excerpts of the book and outrage followed. Janata Dal MP Syed Shahabuddin called the book a deliberate insult to Islam and said it wasn't an act of literary creativity. An MP from the Congress party itself wanted a ban on the book. Khurshid Alam Khan, the father of former External Affairs Minister and senior Congress leader Salman Rushdie, did not approve of the book's content. Soon, several people from the Muslim community demanded a ban on the book, calling its content blasphemous. The government gave in. On the 5th of October 1988, the Satanic Verses was banned following a customs order by the Finance Ministry. The government later clarified that the book in itself wasn't banned, but just its import. But Salman Rushdie wasn't pleased. He wrote an open letter to Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. The full letter, published in the New York Times on the 17th of February 1989, had the headline, "My book speaks for itself." In fact, here's an excerpt from Rushdie's letter. Can the Finance Ministry really be saying that it is no longer permissible in modern, supposedly secular India for literature to treat such themes? If so, things are more serious than I had believed. From where I sit, Mr. Gandhi, it looks very much as if your government has become unable or unwilling to resist pressure from more or less any extremist religious grouping. That, in short, it's the fundamentalists who now control the political agenda. You know, as I know, that Mr. Shahabuddin, Mr. Khurshid Alam Khan and their allies don't really care about my novel. The real issue is the Muslim vote. I deeply resent my book being used as a political football. What should matter to you more than my resentment is that you come out of this looking not only Philistine and anti-democratic, but opportunistic. Remember, for broader context, that time of Rajiv Gandhi's tenure as Prime Minister wasn't the smoothest of all. Just 2 years before the ban, that's in 1986, his government had overturned the Shah Bano verdict of the Supreme Court. In 1985, the Supreme Court ordered that 67-year-old Shah Bano's ex-husband had to pay her alimony following the divorce. Muslim groups opposed the verdict, saying it interfered in their personal laws, also called the Sharia. Following the pressure, the Rajiv Gandhi government overturned the verdict by bringing in a legislation. Several Hindu outfits looked at this as a bid to appease Muslims by Rajiv Gandhi. Countering that charge in a way, Rajiv Gandhi ordered the opening of the Babri Masjid locks. This was after the Shah Bano verdict. The mosque had been locked by the Jawaharlal Nehru government in 1949 after idols of Ram appeared on the premises under mysterious circumstances. This was the time when the BJP and its affiliates were pushing its claims that a Ram temple exists where the Babri Masjid stood. Several agitations were carried out in this regard. In 1992, the Babri Masjid was demolished, and after several litigations that resulted in a green signal from the Supreme Court, the Ram Mandir was built at the site and inaugurated earlier this year. But let's come back to the Satanic Verses. Soon after its publication, the book was in trouble globally. Several Islamic countries banned the book one after the other. Thousands of Muslims in parts of the world burnt copies of this book. In Pakistan's capital of Islamabad, 6 people were killed in a mob attack on the US Cultural Center who were protesting against the book. In Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar, 1 person was killed and over 100 were injured in riots. In 1989, 12 people were killed during intense Muslim rioting in Mumbai, which also was Rushdie's hometown. Tensions escalated in 1989 when Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, issued a fatwa. He called on all Muslims to execute not just Rushdie, but everyone involved in the book's publication. In fact, a religious foundation in Iran even offered a $1 million bounty for killing Rushdie and $3 million if an Iranian carried out the killing. Violence followed. The Japanese translator of the Satanic Verses was murdered in 1991 in his own office. An Italian translator was stabbed in 1991, but he survived. And in 1993, the book's publisher in Norway was shot, but the publisher also managed to survive. The security threat to Rushdie was so high that he had to go underground for almost a decade. Cut to August 2022. Best-selling author Rushdie was in New York at a book event. As he was about to be introduced, a 24-year-old man attacked Salman Rushdie. The man stabbed Rushdie in the neck and torso several times before being taken into police custody. US prosecutors said the 24-year-old accused was motivated by a Hezbollah leader's endorsement of a fatwa calling for Rushdie's death. The attack on Salman Rushdie left him partially blind and with limited mobility in one hand. 2 weeks after the attack, India had formally condemned this attack on Rushdie. But the attack didn't deter the author from writing another book, Knife, Meditations After an Attempted Murder. This autobiographical book recounts the stabbing incident in 2022. Salman Rushdie and his books have courted controversies on more occasions than one, for its content, subject, and how Rushdie narrated his story. In fact, as we speak, reports say several Muslim organizations have appealed to the Union Government of India to reinstate the ban on the book. Maulana Kaab Rashidi, legal advisor for the UP unit of Jamaat-e-Ulema Hind, AM, reiterated the old stance that Satanic Verses is blasphemous. The Indian government hasn't commented on the issue officially at the time of publishing this report. But the question of ban did give rise to some questions, like was a ban necessary at all, or did the Rajiv Gandhi government in India overreact at that time? Besides, does banning a book where an author pens down his or her story violate free speech or not, free speech of their author? The return of the Satanic Verses on bookshelves in India is good news for die-hard Rushdie fans and even those intrigued by the outrage over the book over all these decades. That's all we have for this report. Do like and share this video, comment and let us know what your views are on this subject, and subscribe to HW News English on YouTube for more such videos. Thanks for watching.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.